It's like the best is when it's like just a thick line of people coming at you, and I just go full on, and like people just like jump out of the way, and like they usually don't see me till I'm right there. They just see people parting, and they're like, "What is going on?"
So hi everyone, welcome to Scareactor Stories. If you don't know who I am, I'm Noelle, also known as Charge and Die. I'm a professional scare actor. I've been scaring since like 2015, I believe. Except for when, the mess happened. And I got my start kind of on TikTok telling Scareactor Stories, and after a while I realized, hey, why don't I give my friends a chance to share their stories too? I know so many scare actors and this would be fun. So I turned it into this little podcast thing, interview session. I have a special guest with me tonight. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Balchunas. I've been scaring people professionally since 2007. And when I'm not scaring people, I like to do fun and cool things with balloons.
Yes, Rob the balloon guy. Don't actually rob him. That's just his name. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Rob, for being here. Everyone in chat, feel free to reply to what we're talking about. Ask your questions about scare acting. We will reply. It's just a chill and chat kind of time for us. But yeah, let's have some fun. So, Rob, you started in 2007, you said. What got you interested in scare acting? How'd you get started?
So I've always been interested in Halloween. Since I can remember. It was probably like the Pete and Pete and Rugrats Halloween specials, I think did it for me. So I got interested in all of that, and in high school, like found forums about decorating for Halloween. And then in 2007, I got a job doing street shows at a theme park. And I was still in college, so I'd come home one weekend a year to check it out, and I'd get to scare for a night, which was fun. And then my last season there, I actually did it full time for the entire event and the run. And that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then when I moved out to California, a bunch of my friends from that park had gone down to Florida to work another big event. And I'm like, oh, well, there's one out here. I wonder what's going on there. So I looked up auditions and went and did that for 10 years up until last year, the gap year.
Yeah, the gap year. That's not your fault. That's the world going crazy. At least we could blame something else, right? But
Yeah.
that's a lot of commitment. And obviously, it changed a lot over the years. What's been your favorite part scaring all that time? What keeps you going?
Probably the people. I've been able to create like a lot of really good friendships from people I've met. And that's really what keeps bringing me back. I enjoy the event I work at, and I want to do my best to make it a quality event for everyone who's paying a ton of money to be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's good on you. That's a very professional mentality. Absolutely. It's like, this is my job to scare, and I'm going to do a good job doing it. That's just all we can really ask for. That's what you got hired to do. So just got to keep at it. That's great that it started off as a love for Halloween and horror. Do you like horror movies?
Yeah. Horror movies give me a whole lot more anxiety than going through a haunted house, but I do enjoy horror movies as well.
Okay, so it stemmed from a love of things that are kind of creepy and scary, and then it turned into a profession. That's amazing, and obviously it's seasonal, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do when you're not scaring?
So when I'm not scaring, I play a lot with balloons. It takes a lot of different courses. I perform on stage doing an act that uses comedy and magic and balloons. I twist balloon creations for people at events back when we had those. And then also I do decorations and full-scale installation things. That's what I'm out here doing right now in Kansas City. My friend Molly Balloons is having a Balloon Wonderland event.
Woo!
So we took over this giant space and created all these different worlds to wander around in.
That's great. Yeah, it's one of those things like scare acting and what would you call it? Like balloon creation. I don't know what you would say. These are some jobs that people don't really think are jobs, but they're aware that it exists. Like when I try and explain to someone, "Oh, I'm a scare actor," they're like, "What's that?" And I go, "Have you ever been to a haunt? Have you ever walked through a haunted maze and like someone jumps out at you?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a person." Who's hired to do that. And they go, "Oh yeah." Same with like balloon forming, like the big archways for like weddings and birthdays and everything. Someone has to do that. That's a job too. No one ever really thinks, oh yeah, where do they come from, huh? But that's fantastic that you do that. So Rob, you and I scared together. Are you comfortable sharing where you scare and what you scared as, or do you want to keep that secret? That's totally up to you.
I don't mind sharing. It's easily enough to find usually.
Okay. Okay. So what have been some of your favorite characters that you've played over the years?
So our park, Universal, does a lot of IP related things. So everything's usually based on a movie or a television show, a property that always exists. It's fun to kind of play those characters, but I enjoy having more creative freedom to play around with whatever character I may have. That's something at the other park I worked at. People would come up with their own characters a lot, and sort of got a little bit much because people would be like, "I'm a spooky starburst monster," and it's like that doesn't necessarily fit into the world that's around us, but okay.
Make it work somehow.
Yeah.
That takes creativity. I'll give them that.
Yeah. So like probably one of my favorite roles I've been given was a spooky sheet ghost in the Halloween scare zone, and it was all just the classic Halloween monsters, but like pretty terrifying. And so our casting director, I told him, "Well, you gave me this giant sheet to play with, so you asked for it." So that was a fun costume to work with.
So literally just a sheet over you and you'd wander
Pretty
around?
much. It was like a big giant cape that went around and a mask on top of it, and I just was able to flail it all around.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's a big thing with scare acting that a lot of people also don't realize. We get very creative. Yes, we're told like our limits, and we have to stay within the limits because it is a job and we have to be professionals, follow the rules and everything. But we can get pretty creative within those limits. I mean, you and I used to play together all the time when things were slow.
Totally.
That was a lot of fun. And then of course, the infamous rain out of 2018 where you were like the only one scaring out there. How is that? How did you keep with that?
So like most of the other costumes and masks could not survive in the rain. So I was one of like 3 or 4 people in the entire zone that could be out. And there's people who are just wandering around being miserable in the rain. So I kind of wanted to give them something fun to look at and interact with, because I just want to make their night better. So I ended up doing like a 3.5-hour set or something crazy like that.
It was insane.
Which is stupid. You should never do that.
No.
But I figured like once I came off set, I was probably done for the night because I was just completely soaked. And like, no way I want to go back into a completely sopping costume. But like, I just went all out, like rolling around on the ground. One of my favorite bits to do in the rain is like go under people's umbrellas and look really sad.
Oh.
As much as you can emote under a mask.
Yeah. And just all body language. Oh. Just everything goes down.
Yeah. Just acknowledge like, hey, I know we're all in this situation, but it'll dry up eventually.
Yeah. Camaraderie. I know I'm the monster here, but we all hate the rain right now, so we're good. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. Can I share umbrella? Chris goes, rain solution, scary umbrella monster. Don't tell Murdy that. He'll make it happen. I mean, he'll get creative. Claus goes, the next Stephen King book. Yeah, monsters rolling around in rain and trying to share an umbrella. Scary umbrella monster. Edward Umbrella Hands. Just. You guys are so funny. But yeah, if you have any other questions for Rob, please ask them. Rob, do you have any stories to share of your time scaring? Like, what have been some of your favorite scares, some favorite reactions? I know you have quite a few under your belt after all that time scaring.
Yeah, 13 years of scares. That's a lot. Probably one of my first like really fun ones that I had was one of the one-off nights that I did back east, and I created a balloon top hat skeleton mask type thing. Cool. And I made like balloon skeleton hands over my hands, and I went over to a hay bale, and I would just sit there and like wait for someone to come over, take a picture or something like that. And when they like got right next to me, I would like stand up and dance a jig and sit back down.
Oh man!
It would startle them, but then also give them a laugh.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I could totally see that. I would laugh so hard at that. And just doing a little jig, I could totally see you doing that.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite reaction to get is like the scream and then the laugh. Because like, oh man, I just got scared by something so dumb. Like, that's like the perfect reaction for me.
I never really thought of it that way, where like you scare them, but in such a way that's so dumb that they can't help but laugh that they even got scared at it in the first place. That's a fun reaction. Yeah. I remember I dropped someone entirely and I totally thought that I killed them for a brief second. Like, oh my God, are you okay? And I can't ask because we're not allowed to speak. So I was just like, and then they start laughing so hard about how stupid they were to fall in the first place. And I remember, okay, that's a good reaction. But you're right. I never really thought of it that way. And you tend to be a lot of like, I want to say lovable characters. Like you're still a monster, but in a lovable way. Would you say that's accurate? Because like I remember you as the crow person when I walked through in 2019, and then you were a little kid in 2018, and
yeah.
What's the biggest challenge with those kind of monsters that? Because I remember you as the zombie kid, and they're not inherently scary. Like they're not meant to be intimidating and in your face in any way. So what would you do if you're given a character that is more on the lovable side? Like how do you make something that's more cute or whatever you want to describe it as scary?
It's interesting. Like I know our friend Josh has been in a bunny role for a couple of years,
Bless his
which
heart.
is a difficult thing to overcome because people are like, "Oh, it's a bunny. Let's go over and be friends with the bunny." And it's like, no, I'm also terrifying.
Yeah, like how do you make that scary but still in character? Because I think a lot of people when they start out and they get a character like that, they're like, I'm a monster, I'm gonna be scary, but even in a bunny costume they're gonna go out and go rah, which doesn't fit the character, so it leaves the guests more confused than anything else. So how do you adapt something that's like cutesy but in a way that still scares them without leaving them confused? And I know that's a tough question to answer without like the specifics of the character, but if you have any advice for those, how do they tackle that character development?
I think you need to maybe sort of play into the preconceived notions of the character. Like, so the bunny, like, oh yeah, you can start off being cute and like reacting how they're coming at you, but then you have to betray their trust at some point and just do something so unexpected that that'll hopefully give them a scare.
I think that's good advice. Yeah, betray their trust.
Definitely get someone to trust you, then betray that trust.
Lure them into a false sense of security and absolutely rip their hearts out. Love it. Yeah. Lumber to the Jack goes, yo. Lumberjack, is that you? Wow, man. Hi.
Lumberjack.
Good to have you here. I'm sure you don't even know me, but you're a legend, so I know you. How creepy. Glad to have you here, man. So yeah, let's get back on topic. What have been some of your favorite scares that you've done? Favorite memories? Whatever you want to share, really. It's called Scareactor Stories.
Yeah. So 2016, I was very briefly a scary clown in the tram loading area. And my friend Noah and I were specifically chosen for having clown skills that we were using. So I had a monkey puppet that I tied to a couple uninflated balloons and tied it to my wrist. So like I'd like have a fun little monkey, and then all of a sudden I'd throw it at people and it would get right in their face and then snap back.
Ooh.
Which was fun. And then I would make a balloon dog or heart for someone and give it to them, and right as I gave it to them, it popped right in their face.
Oh,
so,
I like
once again,
that.
betraying the trust of everyone.
Fantastic.
And that did not end up working out because they were trying to push more people than normal through the area, and we were told that we were too distracting. They needed people to just keep moving and not stay and watch us scare people.
Okay.
So, yeah. So then I got moved up to the Purge Gauntlet Scare Zone, which was a lot of fun. It was their first time trying a hybrid scare zone thing. So there were like maze elements that you could like hide behind and whatnot. And it was like pretty much a one-way scare zone, which if you're new to the streets, it's pretty easy to get acquainted with because you don't really have to worry about people coming up behind you. You can just work with the flow of traffic. But there were a lot of people that I worked with, and we got some really amazing scares. They had 3 sections, and I was in the first section, and my friend Dylan and I, when I was put in this role, I went to props, and they're like, all right, this is what we have left. And I'm like, I am taking the giant, ridiculous mallet.
Yes.
Why not? So at the end of our first section, there was like 2 planters, and my friend Dylan and I would hide behind those and take turns popping out. So I'd come out with the mallet, and people would see me, haha, and then he'd come out with the chainsaw. So we got to do the double tap
I
on
love that. Double scare. Teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. Absolutely. And I encourage everyone who wants to be a scare actor or is a scare actor, work with the fellow scare actors. You get so much better scares that way.
Yeah. Also in that zone, there were a lot of interesting, weird props. And there was this, I don't know, like booth type thing that had a couple of windows on all the sides, and there was this big body prop that was like mounted right in front of like the window facing the area of guest flow. So I was working with our friend Diamond, and one of us would hide inside that booth, and the other person would be out there trying to push people to go right next to it, and then we'd reach around the body and pop out. And got a lot of really good scares that way.
Oh, I can imagine. Another false sense of security thing going on. Lumberjack goes, always double tap, gotta make sure they're dead. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes, poke them with a stick a few times. Just, hey, you good?
Important when you're dealing with zombies or theme park guests.
Oh, yeah. Especially when alcohol is involved.
Oh yeah.
What was it like scaring before they even allowed alcohol? Because that was before my time. Or I think
Yeah.
2017 they didn't have alcohol, but I was on Terror Tram, so didn't
Yeah.
wander around anyway.
Um, definitely. We were definitely noticing a difference. The first year, it was they were in like a couple of predetermined areas, and you could only have 2 drinks maximum. Um, yeah, but people have always found ways to have alcohol at the event. Either they go beforehand and get loaded and somehow make it into the park, or sneak something in somehow. Um, so we've always been dealing with drunk guests. But once they started allowing alcohol sales, it's just people were still like double fisting at 1 a.m.
Oh yeah.
So it definitely kept the buzz going for a lot longer.
Yeah, and I feel like it spread a lot more personally because it's like not everyone's gonna sneak alcohol in, and if they do, you usually catch them and kick them out because at that point they're probably wasted. But if you're selling alcohol, anyone over 21 can get it in the park if they have the money, which if they're in the park, they already do. So
If you want a $14 beer, go for it.
I make a game of it. I try and make them spill it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you spent money on that and now you dropped it. Ha 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 ha.
There is something satisfying about that, as terrible as that might sound.
Yes, I feel like a horrible person for saying that, but it's a game.
If they're
I play.
being a dick, then
Yeah,
karma.
yeah. I feel bad if they were like being nice and being a good guest, and then I accidentally made them drop their beer. That I feel guilty about. But if they're being a jerk about it, then yeah, I'm gonna make you spill your beer. That is my revenge, and it's an honest accident. I didn't mean to. It's not like I knocked it out of your hand. That's on you. Maybe you drank too much and you got sloppy. That's on you. There was this one woman, I say this in a few of my interviews, but I remember her, I scared her and she like vibrated it onto herself little by little. I felt so bad because she seemed nice. Like that was a great reaction, but she was like, drowning herself in beer. Sounds nice.
Yeah.
It's a good time. You say you make a lot of friends scaring. Did you have any expectations going into your first time scaring of like the kind of people you'd be working with, what the event is like on the other side of things?
So I did 3 years out on the East Coast at
Right.
Six Flags New England and made a ton of really good friends there. And going into Horror Nights, I wasn't exactly sure how that was going to be. Like, I didn't know anybody, and I have memories of like just I was just gonna like kind of keep to myself on breaks and just chill and I don't know, not try to get too attached or anything.
Yeah.
But it was very quickly started making friends with people and so it's just really great when you have a really good group of people that works really well together. 2011, I was in the Alice Cooper maze, Welcome to My Nightmare, and we just had such a tight-knit group. Like, everybody was friends with everybody. Everybody got along with everybody. There was no drama, and that just made it really easy to come into work and be excited about the job.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we get a lot of abuse from guests, and so to just have extra shit going on back in the break room, like, you don't want that.
Yeah,
We
you
deal with
need
enough
the
already.
support from the people also going through that same crap that we go through. It's like, you guys understand, we need a break. Let's just chill, hang out, have a good time together. And if you're all getting along, great. it's a fun time. But if you're not getting along, then it's this grueling shift. Rather than a fun gig, it turns into a chore, and that should not be the case. Yeah. So you mentioned like taking abuse from guests, and we touched base on this in previous live streams. But do you have any advice on how to deal with guests that want to get in your face, mess with you?
I have never had any real major problems. Thankfully, the most usually I get is just really annoyed, and so sometimes I'll just hit a wall where I'm just start getting angry and frustrated with the whole situation. But I haven't had like anything like, oh, I need to go see Ock Health because somebody like punched me really hard.
Well, that's good that you didn't get hurt that bad where you have to go and get checked out. That's good.
Yeah. Some of it might just be the characters I play, and like I use a lot of humor, so it's hard to be threatening at the same time.
Good point.
So yeah. But I think the biggest thing is just to be smart. I will get really close to people, but I will get in and get out really quick before there's like any time to react. So like as I'm going in, I'm already planning getting out. So
scare and get out or boo and skidoo. Whatever you call it, do it.
Scare and scram. It's
scare
all good.
And scram, yeah.
But yeah, just don't give them the space for them to be able to do something. Like when you're cornering someone, that's when you run into trouble. And also, like if you're in a position where you can't retreat easily, that's another thing. But usually you have the ability to get out of the situation. So that's probably really helpful. But like if you're on the streets surrounded 360 degrees, like people will come up to you and try to, another annoyance is like people tapping on your shoulder or coming up and like yelling boo to try to get you.
I hate that. It's like, first off, that's not scary. Just yelling boo at someone isn't scary. It's obnoxious. Oh, Chris goes, fright and flight. I like that name too.
Nice.
There's so many names for it. I love all these names.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one dude straight up grabbed my waist from behind. And that made me jump a little bit because I wasn't expecting to be grabbed, especially at the waist. Like, middle-aged dude, don't do that to me. And then he comes around the front and goes, ha, I scared you, got you. Like, no, I'm not scared. I'm surprised. But no. I think it was Gabby. I think someone said that Gabby, as a supervisor once, yelled at someone who tried to do that. Auditions are in July! Like, if you're one of those guests trying to scare the Scareactors, just audition to be a Scareactor. It's our job to scare you. Don't scare us. It's just annoying. A lot of us don't even get scared at it.
Pay for it.
Yeah. And then obviously as a wolf, like I got a lot of people petting me on my back. It's like, where have your hands been? Ew.
Yeah. I got, as the sheet ghost, I got like multiple people who like grabbed me from the waist from behind. I don't know why, but I like this one lady, I don't know, she was probably about 40 or 50, like she like ran around and grabbed me and was like, ha! And like I turned around and she was like, sorry, I had to. I'm like,
but why did you have to?
Why?
It's not like there's a button saying don't press and then you're like, oh, but I gotta press it. There's nothing about your costume that's like, grab me. What?
Yeah.
I want to understand
like
guest psychology, because something switches in them as soon as they get like in the area.
Yeah.
It's so
like
weird.
It wasn't malicious too much. It was just mostly annoying.
Yeah.
But like with that type of thing, like if they do it once, they might do it multiple times. So in like that situation, I usually just go to a PA and be like, hey, can you just tell them not to grab people? Just
Yeah.
like, I don't want security involved because then it just becomes a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Most of the time with stuff I've dealt with, I just want them to get yelled at. Be like, hey, don't do that. Like, for serious.
Yeah, I just want them to know that's not okay, and if you do it again, then you'll get kicked out. Like, give them a warning. I'm fine with that, depending on what it was. Like, for the people, like, petting me, or, like, even the guy that grabbed my waist, it's like, that's not okay, but I don't think he meant anything bad by it either, and it didn't hurt me in any way. But also, I don't know what other people can handle, like, other Scareactors can handle. So, although I'm okay, they might not be okay. I don't know what their situation is. I don't know what they've been through. It could be triggering for them. It could hurt them. I don't know. So, security, tell them don't do that, please. But I don't know. In 2018, I had some bad experiences with security. Just not doing their job right. But overall, great experience. There was like one woman in particular that I was like, she's on top of it. I like her. Like, that's great. So with security, you can love them or hate them.
Yeah. It's always nice to find like the people who will do their job and the people that have your back.
Yeah,
so
it makes you feel way safer. Yeah.
I know who to go to.
It's like, hey, you're here. I'm good. Let's go scare comfortably rather than being on edge. What's going to happen? Because when you're out on the streets, like you said, there are guests all around you, 360 degrees, almost all the time, unless it's dead, quiet in the zone. And it can cause a lot of anxiety if you're not used to it. If it's your first time in a scare zone, it's like, oh my God, they're coming from all angles. It's a matter of being aware of your surroundings and doing everything you can in your power to make sure you are safe and that you're making sure you're not touching the guests and everything. But guests are stupid, so just be aware. Lumberjack, I got your back, my dudes. You're awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I love about scare acting is that because we're all in it together, more often than not, you're good friends with those that you scare with because we're going through all the same stuff, like we were saying earlier. I love when we have each other's backs. Like when there's a guest really annoying or obnoxious or potentially harming another scare actor, and you see this, then you could go in and try and like intervene if it's safe to do so, or go get security if it's unsafe to intervene. And I call those like revenge scares. I love revenge scares.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of revenge scares? Because you're really good at like making sure everyone's okay and everyone's safe and everything. So do you have any fun revenge scare stories? I know that's very niche. That's very specific.
Yeah. I don't have anything off the top of my head, but like if I see someone going up to try to mess with somebody else, I'll usually try to like swoop in and intervene and scare them. Or like if they're going up and they like or do like a boo to them, I like try to get right behind them, and when they turn around, do the exact same thing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's the revenge scare. Yeah, that's what I would do. Like when one of the wolf girls was being messed with and I would see it, I would just stand on the other side of the guy and they would turn around and see the full transformed wolf in their face and freak out. The best.
Yeah.
So great. I've shared a story that involves you quite a few times. I don't know if you're aware.
I think I know where this is going.
But I would love to hear your side of it too, if you want, if you remember it. But there was one night where it was really dead in our zone, and you came up and we improv together, where we had this understanding in our zone that zombie kids were afraid of the wolves, who were afraid of the chainsaws. So you came up, you screamed, and started to run away. And I'm like, oh, he wants me to chase him. Oh, great. So I chase after you. And then you go into the other zone, you hide behind a chainsaw. Unfortunately, she was Pool, and she didn't understand the dynamic. And so instead of revving a chainsaw, which would have sent me away, she just waved and walked off, exposing you. And we had this moment where we looked in each other's eyes and we're like, what do we do? Because I need to eat you now. I don't know how to stop and not eat you now. What do we do? And then you scrambled. You hid
I
behind.
went behind like a planter.
Yeah, it was not just a planter. You hid behind 3 thin leaves of the plant, just like covering one eye and not even entirely that. And then I went, where'd he go? Just left. That's what we have to do. But it was so funny.
Had to resolve it somehow.
Exactly. That's where improv can go wrong. But it was hilarious, and it created a fun memory for us. You know, I'll always remember that. Like, oh, Rob, that was a funny time that we had.
Yeah.
But what was going through your head when you were hiding behind Chainsaw and then she just walked away? Do you remember?
It's like, oh crap, well, how do we resolve this now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we just do some random SNL ending that doesn't make sense, but you just have to end it somehow?
Where we start, like, dancing and then walk away.
Yeah.
Just random.
Yeah. That's why I like not speaking as a character, because, like, improv is pretty difficult unless you are skilled at it. So most of the time you're just too in your head and trying to... That's just gets way too complicated. So, like a lot of clowning is like finding the game and then figuring out the game and playing around with that. So, yeah, like we had the rules like, oh, I'm afraid of you. So what do? I have to try to run away and hide. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hide in the stupidest way possible.
And then I took that and I was like, oh, he's trying to hide. Oh, I can't find him now. Leave him alone, because if I was really in character, he'd be dead by now. Yeah. Another thing about like creating a scare character is you got to think of how to stop yourself. Not improv related. We'll get back to improv related because I think that's a really interesting topic to talk about. But another thing that I like to think about when I develop my characters is if I'm really in character, what's going to stop my character? Because if I'm this big wolf and I have targeted you as my next meal, what's going to stop me from eating it? Like, I can't just stop because that's not scary. That's more confusing. Like, oh, what stopped her? If I were a comedic character and I was playing a wolf, I'd like smell and go, eh, and then walk away or something. But if I'm a big intimidating wolf, that's not gonna work. So it's a matter of just a silver bullet to myself. I was just like, my next meal. No.
Yeah, at the end of the night, just send out the character that has the gun with the silver bullets.
Yeah, and then they like have a little fight or put on a show or something. Like that would be pretty badass, actually. I wouldn't mind that. That would be really epic. But yeah, you got to think of what's gonna stop you while you're making your character, while you're developing all those, like the backstory and everything, which I don't think a lot of people do. So let me ask you this, Rob. Do you go through all that? Do you develop the backstory of the character and like the motivation of the character and everything to help get into character?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because scare acting is acting, but not every scare actor is an actor and thinks that same way. They just go and scare. So I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't put a whole ton of like thought into like motivations and history and things like that, but I definitely try to play into whatever I am. Like because a lot of times, like with Halloween, we were all just like spooky Halloween characters, but like we weren't sure like if we were like supposed to be people dressed up as these characters or just like those characters come to life. So like with the ghost, I tried to be pretty playful. There was this Rob Zombie song that came on that was kind of like surf rock. So whenever that song would come on, I would like go to the middle of the area and just do a little dance and then just drop squat at people's feet, because that's pretty terrifying. When you get low, that freaks people out a lot.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen you do that when you were the zombie kid. You would like go and then grab something off the ground or pretend to grab something off the ground and like play with levels. And I think that was brilliant. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. I'm mid-sized. I'm like 5'6", so I'm not like a giant, terrifying person. So I lean the other way. I've gotten so much mileage, both literally and figuratively, out of crab walking.
I was just gonna say, I remember you doing that crab walk at people, and they would always freak out. Like, it's as if they saw a mouse and was expecting. They were like, "Oh my god!" Just freak out.
Yeah, it's like the best is when it's like just a thick line of people coming at you, and I just go full on, and like people just like jump out of the way. And like they usually don't see me till I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
They just see people parting, and they're like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, then you just part the crowd. Doing the crab walk. I tell people that all the time. Play with the levels, because when people are going through a haunt, they tend to just stare straight. They don't look down or up. So I favor getting high. I like to take the high ground, because personally, when I've done like spider crawls at people, I've been kicked in the face. So
yeah,
it can get a little dangerous.
You have to be really careful doing.
Exactly. So not for me. I mean, I'll still do it if I need to, and I can't go high, then I'll go low. Absolutely. But if there's like a cabinet to hide on, or like a big bed with the posts on it, and you climb up the post a little bit, if it's sturdy enough, make sure it's sturdy enough. And I remember going through this one haunt, I think it was Great America, and we were going through this one room. It was like a child's bedroom or something. And you go through, and you walk through the door, and there's this big bed to the left of you, and you walk around that bed and through another door. And you're going through this room going, but where's the scare? Like, what's gonna happen? And as you walk around to the next post, you realize that you just walked by a scare actor who is hanging on to a bedpost and looking down from above, and you go, oh my god, she was there the whole time. She didn't say anything, she didn't do anything. It was just the matter of like, I know there's someone here. Oh, there she is. That freaks people out. It freaked me out.
Universal is really good with levels. They're good at having platforms for people, or the liberal use of stilt walkers. I was a stilt swing in 2011 for La Llorona, and it's just like so satisfying to come at somebody from above and just like squat right down to their level, because they think, oh, it's a tall person, so they're gonna be tall the whole time. Nope.
Psych.
Yeah. And like my friend Joey is. Yeah, my friend Joey's amazing at. He'll just drop to the ground and then crawl at people while on stilts.
Oh wow! I didn't know he did that.
Is terrifying, because you don't expect a stilt walker to be on the ground.
How does he get back up?
He's able to.
Yeah, lots of practice. Lots of practice.
Yeah.
We'll chalk it up to that. He's very experienced as a stilt walker.
Having a PA to like push yourself up on helps as well.
Oh, that's true. Like, crawl and go, ha, I got you. Help back up, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, that would be me, absolutely. I've seen some of his TikToks, too, of him sharing, like, the rehearsal versus being in costume and being out there. I think that's so cool. I didn't know you did stilts. How long have you been doing stilts?
Yeah. So also did stilts since 2007. Learned it at Six Flags and did it a bunch there. And I've only done it 1 year at Horror Nights. And it's a workout. And both times I went like super hard. So the next day I was like having a hard time walking. It might be fun to do a season on stilts, but like with any fun toy, like there are limits. Like I love being able to crab walk, and like having a chainsaw, you can't do that because you can't put the saw down. So I like being able to be mobile and do what I need to do without having to worry about operating some sort of dangerous machinery that could like really bruise people if you hit them accidentally.
Yep.
Actually, the only time I sort of got injured doing the crab walk was during opening in 2015 when I was a bug, and I crawled out from behind the center trash pile thing area, and then like more people come from behind us, and Joey was coming in and like still hit my elbow. I'm like, ooh, ouch.
Ooh. Yeah, that sounds like it would hurt. Yeah, I know Jeff, I don't know if he fell off stilts or he injured himself in another way, but his elbow definitely got hit and was painful throughout the rest of the season. I felt so bad for him. What's some advice that you could give from your stilt walking experience to those working with stilt walkers? Like, how do you work with stilt walkers? Because not everyone is used to that.
Yeah. Definitely be aware of where they are. And that's good advice in general, is just be aware where other characters are and everybody is pretty much. Because they're able to react quickly, but they also have like 15 pounds of metal attached to their legs, and like moving that, I can move myself quicker than they can move that. So, like if you're both like going in for the same thing, like back out, so that you don't collide. And yeah, just know where people are hiding and where people are moving, and it's hard to predict where people are going to move. Like there's been so many times where we accidentally step on each other's scares.
Yeah. Yeah. Because part of scaring, especially in a scare zone, from what I've observed, is that to create a jump scare effect, you have to be unpredictable. Right? Like, oh, I'm slowly going this direction, and then, I'm over here now. And because you have to be unpredictable to get the scare from the person, you're also unpredictable to your fellow scare actors, unless they know how you scare, and then they can predict through working with you, oh, if they're slowly going this way, they're gonna scare that way. You know. But if you haven't worked with them for a long time and you don't know that, how do you know? How do you know? How do you work around it? Yeah.
And yeah, definitely learn what they can do, because they can do a lot. And like one of the fun things that I did with Jeff when I was Spooky Sheet Ghost is I would see him and he would see me, and I'd put my cape up, my arms up, so like just big blocking area, and he would come right behind me and crouch down. So I'd be completely hiding him, and like we'd wait for guests who had not seen us do this, and so then when they came by, I would drop down to the ground and he would pop up.
Oh, that is epic. I love that. See,
we had a lot of fun with that one.
Was that something you guys talked about doing, or you just did it and he went with it?
I don't remember. I think like we just realized that, oh, like I could hide behind you if you're like blocking me. So yeah, sure, let's do it. And then, like, we knew the code on the street when we thought it would be a good idea to pull that one out.
Right. Was there ever a time that you got geared up for it, saying, like, I think this is a good time, and he's just like, no, not now.
Sometimes I, like, go out and then, like, oh, wait, he's gone.
Oh, oops.
Oops.
Do you know about the time where he gave me his hatchet when I was the wolf?
Oh, maybe.
Probably not. I don't think you were in the scare zone, but I told this story before, and it was so embarrassing because you know when you would throw the glow stick at people's feet, how hard it was to finagle, you know, that glow stick in between my claws and then bring it back to you, right? It's because I could not curl my claws. I can't hold things, right? So not sure why Jeff did this, but one random day, there was this understanding that the wolf girls were the stilts, like minions in a way, like they're pets, and they could like sick us on people. So they would point and we'd go, rah! It was pretty cool. So I went up to Jeff and I did the dog thing, like, hi, how's it going? He goes, pets my head, and then hands me his hatchet. And I'm holding his hatchet and he just walks away, and I go, wait, wait, no, oh no, what do I do? What do I do with this? Oh man. I was like super awkward about it. So I tried to hold it, but I can't use it like I normally would use a hatchet prop because I can't grip it enough. If I swing at someone, it's gonna fling and actually hit someone in the face. So I had to be like, huh, huh, like very carefully at people.
Yeah.
But I was so awkward, and then Star and Diamond were walking by and I guess caught me on tape, and they said afterwards, you looked really awkward, really like scared, confused. I'm like, that makes sense. I was very confused and awkward, yes. I did not scare guests.
I was feeling all the things.
I was feeling a lot of things except for scary and confident and intimidating, which is what I should be as a wolf, but oh well. Oh well. And then going up to guests, they were just confused. Like, why is this wolf holding a hatchet? It wasn't scary. It was overkill. Like, I don't need a hatchet. I got claws. So I would run up to him, try and give it back, and then he would pat my head and walk away again. I'm like, no, wait, get it back. Please. I was like chasing him around for a while until he finally understood. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'll take this now. And I go, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was stressful. I didn't want to hurt anyone, didn't want to hurt me. I didn't know how to hold things. It was weird. But it created a good memory. Fun story to tell. That's a lot of scare acting, is like, even if things go wrong, as long as no one gets seriously hurt, it's a fun story.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Do you have any stories like that where things didn't go as expected, but it's a fun memory? So you tell the story.
Yeah. No, like probably my favorite memories I've had are just playing with people, and even if like the scare doesn't work out, like, oh, like we, like, sometimes I'd find a spoon on the ground and like go up and like put it like right up to like somebody's face, like I was feeding them.
Oh my
and
God.
like a lot of times it just confuses people.
But that can be funny too,
tricks people
especially depending on the character that you are. I remember when people would spill
Yeah.
things, you would start screaming at it on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Ah! I thought that was the funniest thing. And then you did that to my dad when he came in. And I always tell people, like, my dad hates theme parks, crowd, and scary things. So the fact that he came to Halloween Horror Nights at all was so nice of him. And I was expecting him to be in kind of a bad mood, honestly, because he hates all those things. But he was having so much fun with people. No one scared him, unfortunately, but they tried to. And he would react like, ah, you got me. And just play around with people. It was nice. But there was my dad, of course, being my dad, was wearing a blazer and like nice jeans and stuff. So everyone thought that he worked at the park. And he was like one of the blue blazers or something and didn't want to mess with him. But there was a moment where I was out in the scare zone and you came up to me and you were like, I think I found your dad. And I was like, oh, great. So I follow you. And then you just start screaming at him. And I was like roaring. I can't scream because I was the wolf. So I was like roaring at him. And we had all the zombie kids surrounding him and just screaming at him. And he was beaming. Like, it was so fun. And guests walking by would be like, what is going on over here? And I remember he also walked up to me in that moment and was like, do I hug you? Like, what do I do? And I'm like, no, just enjoy the moment. Enjoy this moment. Like, I don't know what's happening either. We're just go with it.
Yeah.
He felt so special being screamed at by zombie children. It was great. So thank you.
Yeah. I think it's really important. If you can't scare them, at least entertain them.
Yes. Yes.
That's like been my philosophy for a while. Yeah. And so like when I first was in the front of Park Scare Zone, there was definitely like a flow to the night. Like at the beginning, you want to be like really intense, hit them hard, and like our events known for being like intense. Like we're gonna scare the crap out of you. And like we're gonna freaking kill you because we're so intense.
Yeah, set the tone real high there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there has to be a balance, because if you like are at like a 10 all night long, eventually like you just get bored of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like towards the end of the night, for me, it's more about just, okay, I know you're tired. I'm just going to try to be stupid. And if I can get you, sure. If not, then like, oh, ha ha ha, let's just have a laugh on the way out.
And I think that's more memorable in a lot of ways, because if you play with the guests, they want to have fun. As long as they're not being jerks about it, I'll play with them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like we end the night with Chainsaw Brigade and like once people come off to prepare for that, there's like an hour where it's just like very few people that are not chainsaws. And so one night as a joke, like there was a sign that said Chainsaw Brigade at 1:30, meet at 1:20 to discuss something. So I took a piece of paper towel and wrote Wrench Brigade at 1:00, meet at 12:55. So that was just us, like, just being dumb. Like, we'd hide behind, like, the check out your photo sign and stuff like that, just to, like, lighten everybody's mood before this big, intense finale thing.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't in Scare Zone 1 the next year, and Josh had turned it into, like, this formal thing. So, like, we go out at, like, 1:00, and every year it evolved into something different. Like 2018, usually you have like one chainsaw, then a couple stilt walkers for like getting people to look, and would go near the fire towers, and everyone would circle around Josh, and just everybody running in a circle, and everyone's like, "What is going on here?"
That was tricky. That was really tricky to navigate. But it was fun.
You'd have guests trapped in the center, and then yelled Ghostbusters, and then we just scatter.
Oh, that was the word. I couldn't remember the word. Like, there was a trigger word that sent us, because I couldn't hear anything or see anything. So I just kind of like went when everyone else went, trying not to hit yes. There was one night
Hutch. Luckily, Hutch, our one of our pyro guys, was pretty good at like seeing it, so he was able to like help time it and give a giant blast.
Oh, he was great at that. He would watch us Wolf Girls sometimes too. We would see him and, you know, gear up for a big roar and, Hutch, you got this? I'm about to do it, and he would do the big fire when we would do that. It was pretty epic. I got to press the button that year.
I did really too.
Cool. It's so fun. Cool. I didn't realize it was just the two buttons, but it's so fun. I got to play with fire.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like how I expected it to look on the inside.
Oh, definitely not.
No, it's just a facade, but on the inside it was very run down. It was like very tight space.
It's all like black plywood and watch your step there.
Yep, exactly. But it was so much fun, and I got to help Aubrey with the big roar, so that was nice. It was fun. It was a fun year that year. I learned a lot. Like, I've done Scare Zones before, but not at Universal, so obviously that's a bigger deal. That's a lot more guests, different vibe, everything.
Yeah.
But I wish we had sliders. I think that would have been really fun to do too. Did we ever have sliders?
Yes. We had sliders the first year I worked in 2010. And then the next year they got rid of them and used that money to add another maze. So it was interesting because they weren't themed to anything. They were just black jumpsuits and a mask. Oh. And they were just kind of in the upper areas of the park, kind of roaming. I mean, it'd be scarier if you give them some fake teeth and prosthetics and makeup so that they have more control. See, I don't like how Universal defaults to a lot of masks, because it's really hard to see out of them. It's hard to scare out of them, but I understand why, and especially if you have good quality masks, great, use them. But as a scare actor, peripherals are definitely a thing.
We need peripheral vision. I had no vision. I had no upper, lower, or peripheral vision in the wolf mask, and I had to look at everyone's shoes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even good at that. That's why in a lot of pictures or a lot of videos, I'm like, the wolf looks like she's looking up at the sky. It's like, because I need to see and breathe. For some reason, it feels harder to breathe when I was looking down. So I was like, okay, now I can look down again.
Yeah.
But it was great.
And, like, they do a good job of trying to make it as good as possible and adjusting it, but, like, a lot of times you're like, okay, I can see straight forward, so, like, gotta look this way before I run this way.
Yes, exactly. Always check first before running. And I learned that the hard way, where I thought I was clear, but then someone snuck up. It's like, no, you gotta double check. Always double check first. That way you don't run into people. Scare actor or guest. Just don't run into people. That's bad. Let's see. This is a comment from back when I was saying you gotta find a way to, like, stop yourself. Factory whistle blows and Sam the wolf goes off shift and Ralph comes on. Like, hi, I got you now. Well, awkward. Goodbye. All right, your shift is up. Well, time to go home. So what's been the best part of scaring for you? Other than the people, like the scaring part itself, what's the best part in your opinion?
I feel like a lot of my job is to entertain the entertainers, because especially later on in the run, like, it wears you down after doing Halloween for 8 weeks, 4 days a week. Like, it gets exhausting. You sort of start to burn out a little bit. But I like to just bring in moments of levity just to, like, make sure we're all still having fun. And, like, that's where, like, we come up with things like the Hammer Troll, which was so fun. I think that was our year. Where is it? Might have been the year before, but there was this song that came on that had, like, 2 big drops. So when it came on, everyone would just, like, congregate right around a certain area, and we had this big circle, and we'd headbang.
Oh yeah, that was our year.
At the drop. Okay, good.
I remember that. I didn't know that was what it was called. I was just called in. They're like, "Hey, come in. We're gonna do a fake out. So don't do anything until this." And I was like, "Okay, good."
Yeah. First drop, everybody headbangs. Yay! And then we, like, kind of scare people a little bit and, like, gather the crowd again, like, hype it up. Like, second drop comes and we all just walk away. Very not fast.
Nope. Just. Good to see you. Yep.
And everyone's like, that was it?
Yeah, it was such a letdown, and that was the funniest part for us. It was amazing, because, you know, they were expecting something even bigger the second time. I was like, yeah, so into it, and bye.
Yeah.
I love playing those kind of games, though. I love finding the humor and stuff like that, and like, okay, what would people expect?
Throwing a glow stick.
Like throwing a glow stick, like playing fetch with wolves, like that's so funny. I wish I didn't have the claws, but it was also a good scare because you would aim for people's feet and we would go up and scare them and go, no, it's mine, give me my glow stick, and come back and wag our imaginary tails at you and dogs. I remember when Trinidad would come in, and there was one time where Trinidad is a regular, for those who don't know, who would come in. And how old is she? She's like 10, 11 at the time.
Something like that.
I think she was like 10 or 11 around the time. And she would come in, and she was a very stoic girl. And I saw her, and I went up to her, and I would do like the wag thing, and then I would kind of sit next to her, and she would point at someone, and I'd go scare them, come back. Wiggle, sit. She would point at someone else, scare them, come back. So I was like her watchdog. It was empowering for her, I hope. It was a lot of fun for me. Yeah. I like being told. A lot of times there's
like unfortunate children who you see they just really don't want to be there. They're not having it. It's not a good time. But then there are kids who just really, really enjoy it. And that's always like nice when you find someone like that. And
love those. My favorite is when they're scared, but they're there to have a fun time anyway, because I have so much respect for them. There was this little girl who was, I don't know if she wasn't in the stroller. I think she was walking by. And she was with her parents coming through the scare zone. I scared the parents, not realizing that she was right there with them. And she goes, ah, hi. And I just kind of wave back, and, I do my little interaction, fist bump, roar to the sky, all that fun stuff, and they go through the zone. Several hours later, they come back through the zone, and I don't recognize them. I'm not seeing faces. I'm mainly seeing shoes. So I go up to scare the parents again, and I hear a little, ah! I look down, I see the girl, and she's like, hi again! And I'm like, hi! So sorry. I usually leave the kids that are very traumatized alone.
Yeah.
I know a lot of scare actors say, like, oh, that's fair game, scare them anyway. But for me, it's like, I'm not here to traumatize them. I want them to have fun. And if I know I'm dressed as an intimidating character, I will leave them alone, because there's nothing I could do. If I look this way, there's nothing I could do if it's already there. Like, if their trauma's already at that level. I hate the parents going through, be like, we paid so much money, come anyway. Like, your kid's so scared. Pay for a babysitter. Why are you here? Why are you dragging them here? I also hate the parents that ruined the interaction, because there was a couple times where I would interact with the kid and we were having a fun time and they were being respectful. Like, they wouldn't touch me unless I offered my fist for a fist bump or something, and they would start off scared and then open up a little bit. And then the dad stuck his forearm in the wolf's mouth and shook a little. I was like, oh, my arm, oh. It's like, dude, that's my face! What are you doing?
Yep.
Why are you doing this? You're encouraging the kid to touch us and hurt us. What are you doing? Horrible. The kid was fine. But yeah, I ran away and the kid was sad because I had to run away. So if you're that dad, F you. Be better.
Yep.
Huh. So we're, time's about up. Do you have any other fun stories that you'd like to share? Anything that comes to mind? Fun memories, fun scares? Did you make anyone pee their pants?
To my knowledge, I have not. I've never, I don't believe, have ever achieved that. It's not something that I particularly care about. Like,
Okay.
it'd be cool if it happens, but I'm not like, oh man, I'm not valid until I do that.
It's not. If anyone feels it's a validation thing, it's not. Just to be clear, it's not like you're a real scare actor when you make someone pee their pants. No, you can't really control that. You're already a real scare actor, but it's funny when it happens.
Every scare is like, you never know how it's gonna go. So like, there's just so many times you try something and get no reaction. You're like, just gotta move on, because there's thousands of other people that you're gonna interact with throughout the night. So
Can't let it get to you.
yeah.
What's something that you've learned over the years that you would like to share for new scarers? Like something you wish you knew when you started out?
Be safe and know the rules and know when you're able to safely bend them. But just most of all, be safe. Know the procedures in your haunt. Know how to go about, oh, somebody touched me. How do I deal with that? And like get in and out, and you'll pretty much be fine. I mean, you can't always see what people are going to do or predict that, but I've never had any real trouble with those things.
That's good.
Big life lessons I've learned working an event like this. 8 weeks of 4 nights a week, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. From one of my supervisors, Tyler, is make sure you hydrate a ton. Stretching is important. Wear ear protection. I know a lot of people like to listen to music. I've never been one of those people.
Yeah, same. I wear earbuds. Yeah, earplugs.
Yeah. I like to be able to hear what's going on, and then like if I have to talk to somebody about something that happened, like want to be able to sure I can hear them and have a conversation. And like even on this big balloon build I've been doing, I've made sure to stretch, hydrate, ear protection.
Oh,
it's a life lesson that comes in handy all over the place.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. And the other piece of advice that Tyler gave to us was, before doing anything, ask yourself, is this stupid?
And then do it anyway.
I mean,
no.
you can still do it. Just know if it's stupid beforehand.
That's fair advice. Yeah, absolutely. Is this stupid? Yes. Do I want to do it anyway? Yes. Will I handle the repercussions? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Chris, I ask, is this stupid enough?
Yep.
Most likely no. Try harder. You could push the stupidity.
How do we make this more stupid? Let's give a Scareactor a backpack that has water in it. We'll make it even more stupid. That was a fun year.
I was gonna say, did that happen to you? Why?
So I was not this character, but my friend Dylan was in 2015 Exterminators, and there was this character that had this backpack on, and he had like a sprayer, like he was putting down poison or whatever, and so he'd have to like pump it and spray it, and quickly learned that people don't like being wet, especially like when there's somebody actively doing that. So they had like, this is like the no zone, and like can only like spray their hand or whatever. So my friend Kenny like found a glow stick one night, and he would go up and like try to give it to someone, and then Dylan would swoop in and just spray their hand. And people were not happy with that.
I mean, that's a good way to like expose the hand, so it's like a safe place to administer the water spray. But
yeah, but they've never had a character with that ability since. So
at least they
I'm not sure we'll see that anytime soon.
They just want to give it a break for a few years and then bring it back, see if they can master it. Lumber to the Jack. Great job, Rob. This was my first Twitch I've ever watched. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Lumberjack.
Best.
Miss you, man.
William is lurking. Hi, William. William goes, wait, is this the kid from... What's TRT? Terror Tram? Who walks crab walk. Oh, Trick or Treat. Yeah, who walks crab walk. Yeah, it's Rob.
Yep,
crab
that's
walk
me.
Guy. Scare Zone Rob. The glow stick, it is him. He was great. Aww. Yeah, you had such great fun ideas. I gotta say, I loved working with you because you were so innovative, thinking outside the box on how to entertain people, which I highly respect and admire, because it's true, we are entertainers. If we're not there to scare, we're there to at least entertain and make them laugh. That we're performers, that's what we do. And you would always find the fun in everything, and that's really important, I feel. So that's another piece of advice for everyone. Find the fun. If you're not having fun, then what are you doing? It's a fun job. It's a fun gig. Have fun.
Yeah.
Because if you're not having fun, the guests are probably not having fun either. So it's your job to make sure they're having fun. So have fun.
Yeah. The one like other big piece that I'd like to leave people with is there's always going to be jerks and people who are going to try to make it not fun for you. But for all of those, there are people who paid really good money to come to this event. And like the thing I hate seeing is people being like, wow, that wasn't really great at all. Like, oh, this room didn't have anything in it. So like I always try to give the best show I can because there's people who really want to see it, and I want to see people being like, wow, that was fun to go to, instead of, wow, we waited in long lines and people were just bored.
Oh. Yeah, that really breaks my heart too when people are like, oh, it's disappointing because we were really excited about this maze, but like no one popped out at me or no one paid attention to me, and like the props and sets were cool, but where were the scare actors? So yeah, just pop out, have fun, do your best. And stretch and hydrate and keep safe. Yes.
Yep.
Great. Well, that's our time. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share about yourself, Rob? Anything you'd like to promote? This is your time.
Last year was pretty crazy.
Are you planning on doing
Halloween,
it this year?
yeah.
Yeah, great.
I sent in my I notified them I was interested in coming back, so we'll see.
Crossing fingers.
Yeah. And no matter what happens, Halloween will never be postponed.
Yeah! Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, you can find all my balloon work on the internet. Search for Rob the Balloon Guy. My business card has been around. And actually, that picture was taken at Scarebase of the person holding my card.
Oh, really?
And,
oh, I didn't know
that's
that.
how it got out there.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have
then-
that as the handle. I have the one that you shared, but
Yeah.
do you have you have a separate Instagram for Rob the Balloon Guy?
No. Rob Balchunas is me and
Okay.
where everything is. You can see all my balloon stuff there. And then hopefully sometime in July, I plan to be joining you on Twitch, and I'm going to be streaming balloon stuff. So
Yay! Yeah, let
if you
me
want to
know.
see cool,
'Cause
fun things.
I will be uploading this episode to YouTube at a later date when haunt season tends to get busy for all of us, whether we're scaring or not. If you're a scare actor, you're usually busy doing other Halloween stuff anyway. So in preparation for that, I've been doing these live streams and recording them, and then later I'll be uploading them to YouTube when I have no time to make new videos. So I'll let you know when it's about to go live on YouTube, and if you're already on Twitch around that time or have other stuff that you'd like to promote, please let me know so that I could put it in the description. And obviously just let me know so that I could follow you, because that's awesome. Rob also has a YouTube channel, and he was doing a lot of, like, every day was a new balloon.
Oh, yeah.
So
I did
that was
too.
fun. Yeah, I watched almost all of them. I think there were a couple that I missed, but I always wanted to make sure that I was, like, supporting you from the sidelines a little bit, because they're really interesting stuff. So please follow Rob. He's amazing. Scare Zone Rob. For me, I'm going to try and keep this short so I don't talk everyone's ears off. But once again, I'm Charging Die. You could follow me on Instagram, here on Twitch if you don't already, on YouTube, and Twitter. I don't really use Twitter. Follow on Instagram and Discord for updates to my stream schedule. The next stream is going to be tomorrow, Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time for Skyrim Sunday. Thanks for watching. Rob, don't go anywhere. I'm going to give you a more proper goodbye.